If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
You know, I'm kidding you about the Ash Wednesday thing. And you look good. You looked presidential on Super Bowl Sunday.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did.
It's a tough business you guys are in.
Tell me about that. Did they meeting you to death and pre-meeting you to death?
Yes.
I don't want to work in that. I can't do meetings.
Yes,
like
it was like I got in Friday.
It's like a real job.
Well,
right?
they wanted me in Thursday, and I begged them to let me stay till Friday because I had some stuff with Allison. So when I got in Friday, it was meetings all Friday night. Got up early Saturday, meetings all day Saturday, rehearsals. You know, Bob Costas, kind of intimidating.
You rehearsed.
Oh, we rehearsed all day on Saturday.
He's short like me. He's not intimidating.
And I couldn't follow his questions. They were so in depth. You know, like I got lost in the question. But you know, we have great coaches. They signed me a producer who's a coach. He's a great guy, really smart man, and got me squared away on a couple things. And then when the light comes on, as you know, you just got to kind of go with what feels right.
Well, you're a learner. You like to learn as much as you like to teach, so you got to be the student for a couple of days.
I got to be the
student.
What
did you learn? What did you doing the biggest television broadcast in the world? There's one thing coaching on the field.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Right.
This was a whole different thing for you.
Well, they when I screwed up in the rehearsals a few times, they said, "Don't worry about it. There's only 110 million plus people watching."
Oh, nice.
You know. So here's how I countered that. I said, "Okay, but like how many people are there in the world?" And the guy goes, about 8 billion. I go, so the percentages, it's really not that many if you think about it.
No one's watching that.
It's not like the World Cup or anything.
Think of all the people that aren't watching it, you know. But, no, there were a couple good tips. Main thing is that you got to get to it on TV. You know, you got to get to your point. You can't be building to your point, giving all your reasons for your point. This is not a court of law. This is you got to come out and say what you think right away, and they're moving to the next thing.
John Harbaugh here, Ravens coach, joining us on WNST. Luke has been making questions. We only get you once a year to do this, and I'm really thankful that you didn't dump water all over my freaking set this time, okay?
These are pretty expensive computers.
This one survived. This is the new one, so in case you screwed this one up, that's what I did. Don't do it. Don't do it. Luke's got questions.
Yeah, a couple things. One, and I would never ask this during the season because I don't want it to be perceived as...
He bites during the season.
He's in a different mindset during the season.
You're very nice
I'm in protection mode during the season.
But I get this question a lot from fans, and this goes on in 32 cities, I'm sure. But game day decisions, as far as an entire coaching staff, how much do you as a staff, you as the head coach and then the chain of command on down, practice game day situations as far as down and distance, making a decision to go for it in a certain time? How much of that do you guys spend, how much time do you spend practicing that, and how do you practice that beyond just, practices in season?
Well, we practice situations all the time, so we try to put ourselves in every situation we can think of as far as decision making and how, when strategically, tactically, whatever, when you're going to go for stuff. We have coordinators meetings throughout the week with our 3 coordinators and myself, and we have our analytics guys involved in that. So we meet on Tuesday night, then we meet again on Saturday morning in terms of how we're going to play the game. What our thoughts are going to be. We're going to be very aggressive. We're going to go for it on 4th down every time. We're gonna in the red zone. We want to think about scoring, from the high red if we can. Those are things we talk about based on what we've learned about the team and how we've looked in practice throughout the course of the week. Ultimately, I'm the one that drives that, and ultimately the one that has to make the decision.
I know you mentioned the analytics. I wanted to ask you about that. Sandy Weil, you hired a few years ago. How has analytics, because Charles Barkley got in a spat with a GM in the NBA, kind of the old school way of thinking.
He's a sabermetrician in baseball.
I'm a baseball stat nerd.
Oh, what?
Total.
So is that like a saber-toothed tiger?
So how have analytics, as far as when you started in Baltimore and even going back to Philadelphia, how has that changed how coaches prepare and how an organization evaluates? Yeah. Or is it maybe something that's a little overblown from a nerd perspective, like someone like me watching from the outside?
I think it's all different places, but it's I would say it's changed everything a lot, and at the same time it's changed nothing, because at the end it still comes down to your gut. You still have to make a decision, and a lot of the analytics numbers that are out there are not really accurate because there's not enough reps to really make them accurate. I mean, the analytics guys will tell you to go for it every time on 4th down, almost, okay? Well, the more you go for it on 4th down, the more those numbers are going to even up. And you don't want to be the coach that's responsible for bringing that number back down to earth, because the consequence for going for it on 4th down and not getting it can be pretty stout. They'll tell you to go for it on 4th and 4, 4th and 5 all over the field pretty much every time, because over the long haul, it's a plus in the expected points. Well, come on. I mean, that's the exaggerated example of you're not going to do that. It would be foolish to do that.
You're not going to be coaching long if you
no. So that's where the numbers kind of fall down. The numbers are not really still, the human brain is still better than the numbers, but the numbers can augment your thinking a lot, can teach you, where your holes in your thinking are, and we've used them to a great extent. Sandy Weil does a great job. He's more involved in the personnel part of it, the draft part of it. We're pretty extensive into that right now, and I think we're just in the early stages of that. Eric DaCosta really uses that stuff to a large degree, and then we've hired Eugene Chen, who's on the football side of it now. We hired him last year. He's a former hedge fund manager. Guy's a brilliant guy, loves sports, loves football, and is making a move in professions now. And so we work with him, pretty much on a regular basis. And we're exploring where to do that, X's and O's as well as strategic decisions.
John Harbaugh, you done with him? We let him go?
Well, my last, and
Go
this
ahead,
is
last,
an
go
easier
ahead.
one.
I mean, basically, it's like when we go for it on fourth down, we make it, everybody's happy, and we go
Sure.
for it on fourth down, we get stopped, and they said you should have taken the points. That's easy. You wish you had that luxury.
Right.
Or the play
Right.
call of they pass instead of run,
Right.
like sort of they did in the Super Bowl at the goal line, right? No comment on that?
No, I mean, it's a good play call. If they score the touchdown on it, everybody's
Genius,
happy.
yeah.
But, no, I have no comment on that.
I figured you wouldn't.
Well, I know you're not a guy who likes to get philosophical as far as reporters' questions in season,
Right.
but you're entering year 8.
Right.
You come to the combine every year. You have 10 to 15 teams, either looking for a quarterback, or they have a new coach, or they have a coach who is
Right.
on the hot seat. Is some of that surreal to you now, going into your 8th year?
Yeah.
You've had the same quarterback from day one, and the success you've had going into this back in 2008. Certainly, you had goals, you had visions of that, but to have realized that to this point in time, how special is that for you?
It's really great. I mean, appreciate you asking it. And surreal is a great word. I mean, I just feel blessed beyond belief. I can't believe the way, things have worked out. You get into such an organization as this. Really, there's no way to know what you're getting into. I was just happy to get an opportunity. I mean, I always loved the Ravens, from an outside looking in. And I did always think Ozzie, of course, he'd come into me, he'd bump into me and go Harbaugh or John Harbaugh. And I'd bump by him and I'd go, that was Ozzie Newsome.
He's
said
a Hall of
hi.
Famer.
Yeah. And that'd be, that'd be thrown out of my mind that he even knew who I was. And then Steve, kind of from afar and watching what he did, I heard him speak once. And I was just like, wow, this guy's just a special guy. I'd love to be around this guy. But I was around Jeff Lurie, who was phenomenal. He's a phenomenal guy. So I've had nothing but just great organizations and great people. Andy Reid, just blessed beyond belief, because it's not always like that, in this league. As my brother can attest to. So it's been great. I love it. Feel great about it. The fans. I mean, I see these fans at my daughter's basketball game. Good people. I'm a season ticket holder, man. I love you guys. It's just a great city. It's a great team. If I might address the reporter stuff, you kind of mentioned that. And one thing I hope people understand is that in the heat of battle, the only time I ever don't want to answer a question is if it's just to protect information. That's the only reason. And it's to protect information from our opponent. I want the fans to know what we're doing, but you just can't put information out there that your opponent is going to look at and go, ooh, that tells me how I need to practice. That tells me where I need to spend my time rep-wise. It's just you can't do it. It's not right. It's not smart. But anything else I try to answer. It's like injury questions. You just can't get into them.
Sure.
Because
is that a healthy paranoia? And you're
I mean, it's smart. It's just being smart. You're not going to tell your battle plans, or show your weaknesses to your opponent, before you play them. That's crazy to think that way. So, I think most of the reporters understand that. I understand that.
And we have a job to do. We have
got to ask.
And if your reply is you're not going to answer it, then that's the way it goes.
I think I can do a better job of not answering it just by saying rather than getting kind of like, why are you asking me that again? Which I do. I do. It's like, you're going to ask me that again? I can't.
I don't
answer
ask
it.
you questions.
You never ask.
I never ask questions.
But,
I don't.
But I think I can just say, hey, I just can't answer an injury question. I can't do it. I just need to just put that out there every time. People get sick of hearing that probably, but I don't know really what else to say about it.
After 8 years, I know you're not going to answer it.
Right.
So why ask questions I'm not going to get answers to?
Right. But I think you're right, guys. Luke's right. Guys have to ask, and it's part of their job. So I get that.
All right, here's the part where I want to say thank you to you for everything you did for my wife. You're a good man. You're a good man. You really are. Appreciate
Thank you. Your wife's the best.
Oh,
we're going to have a great summer.
Oh,
you got a lot of good plans going.
She's coming to Arizona, and we're going to baseball games, and I'm trying to drag your brother.
Yep.
And
I'm pretty sure you'll get Jim out for that.
Well, the cool part of this is anybody that sees the video will say, "What's wrong with Harbaugh's head?" Now, let's put it at the bottom. It was Ash Wednesday.
And what are you giving up for Lent again? I know you.
I'm giving up chocolate and bread
And reporters.
Wow. Chocolate's not hard, like my wife, but bread's hard, man. Bread's
that's
brutal.
tough.
How are you going to do that?
I'll be a skeleton the next time you see me.
What are you going to – I mean, you're going to be carb free. But you can eat potatoes and stuff like that.
Maybe eat pasta still. I just eat more of the other stuff. That's how I'm looking at it.
Pasta's kind of made of the same stuff bread's made of.
I know, but it's not defined as bread in my mind right now. I'm going pasta.
I went through this. I gave you tortillas, tacos, pita. Pita's going to be a bread, though, I think.
Yeah,
I can't get a wrap. I don't think a wrap.
Yeah.
No sandwiches. Sandwiches are out. That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at the combine.
I got a couple weeks ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep an eye on you.
I'll keep you on camera.
He ate bread. He broke the rules with the Lord. John Harbaugh here. We appreciate you coming by.
My pleasure.
Thank you. There we go.
Thanks,
There he goes. John Harbaugh joining us here. We are WNST.net, AM 1570. More from Indianapolis. They stole my football team here once. It's tough for me to be here. Back for more after this.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.